The rain fell cold over Gotham City, but Danny Fenton had already died once. A little water couldn't hurt him anymore. He materialized 3 stories above Crime Alley, his transformation rings flickering unstable green instead of their usual bright white. The dimensional rift that had torn him from the ghost zone still crackled behind his eyes, and every ghost sense in his half-dead body screamed that something was fundamentally wrong about this place. He'd fought ghosts that defied physics, survived his own death in a portal accident, and saved his hometown from interdimensional invasion more times than he could count. But standing above Gotham's perpetual darkness, Danny felt the weight of a city that had perfected suffering into an art form. The ectoplasmic energy that usually flowed through him like second nature felt sluggish here, fighting against laws of reality that didn't recognize the ghost zone's physics. Danny dropped onto a fire escape, clutching his ribs. The transit through dimensions had been brutal, like being pulled through a cheese grater made of cosmic static. His hazmat suit, the white and black uniform that manifested with his ghost form, showed scorch marks along the sleeves. He could feel his powers fluctuating, the connection to the ghost zone that sustained his ghostly half reduced to a thin tether across impossible distance. "Okay, Fenton," he muttered to himself, watching his breath mist in the air despite the summer humidity. "You've been to alternate timelines, fought evil future versions of yourself, and dealt with a psychotic Fruit Loop trying to marry your mom. You can figure out where the heck you are." The answer came faster than he wanted. A scream cut through the rain, sharp, terrified, human. Danny's ghost sense went off like a frozen klaxon in his chest, but the sensation was different. Back home, his ghost sense detected spectral entities from the ghost zone. Here, it reacted to something else entirely. Something that wasn't quite ghost, wasn't quite human, but existed in the space between, with wrongness that made his skin crawl. He went intangible, dropping through 3 floors of abandoned apartments before phasing out into the alley below. A woman was backed against a dumpster, and the thing stalking toward her moved with inhuman grace. It looked human at first glance, expensive suit, slicked back hair, but Danny's half-dead eyes saw deeper. No heartbeat, no breath, no warmth. Just a walking corpse animated by something that definitely wasn't ectoplasm. "Hey, Dracula!" Danny called out, firing an ectoblast at the creature. The green energy struck its shoulder, and the thing hissed, whirling toward him with eyes that flashed yellow in the darkness. "A meter," it snarled, and Danny filed away that term for later analysis. "Gotham has rules about your kind, child. This city belongs to the night." "Yeah, well, I'm half ghost, so I've got squatter's rights on darkness." Danny planted his feet, feeling his powers surge. The creature moved with preternatural speed, but Danny had fought Vlad Plasmius, a hybrid like himself with decades more experience. He went intangible as claws raked through the space where his chest had been, then unleashed a focused ectoblast that sent the vampire, because yeah, apparently vampires were real here, crashing through the alley wall. The woman ran without a word of thanks. Smart. Danny floated after the creature, ready to finish this fight, when his ghost sense exploded again. But this time, it wasn't detecting a threat. It was detecting hundreds of them. Gotham's shadows erupted with supernatural signatures. Ghosts that weren't ghosts. Dead things that walked, living things that shouldn't exist. The city itself seemed to pulse with a darkness so old and hungry that Danny's ghostly half recoiled instinctively. This wasn't Amity Park, where he was the apex predator of the supernatural food chain. This was a city that had been steeped in death and suffering for so long that the boundary between living and dead had worn thin. "Well," a rough voice said from the rooftop above, "you're either very brave or very stupid, kid. In Gotham, those usually amount to the same thing." Danny looked up to see a figure silhouetted against the minimal moonlight filtering through the storm clouds. Trench coat, tie loosened, cigarette dangling from lips. The man looked like he'd been rode hard and put away wet, with the kind of exhausted cynicism that came from seeing too much of the world's darkness. "Let me guess," the man continued, dropping down with far more grace than his disheveled appearance suggested. "You're the reason every mystical alarm in the city started screaming about an hour ago. Dimensional breach, phantom zone resonance, and you smell like death warmed over, except you're still breathing." He took a drag from his cigarette, studying Danny with eyes that had seen enough to recognize the impossible. "John Constantine, exorcist, demonologist, and professional bastard. And you, kid, are in a lot more trouble than you realize." Danny let his hands ignite with ectoplasmic energy, ready for a fight. "I didn't ask to be here. I just want to get home." "Of course you didn't." Constantine's laugh was bitter. "Nobody asks for Gotham, but you're here now, and you've got a signature that's setting off every supernatural nasty in the city. Half dead, are you? That's a neat trick in a universe where death is a cosmic entity who keeps very careful books." He flicked ash from his cigarette. "Tell me something, kid. When you died, and yeah, I can tell you died, did you have permission, or did you just decide to walk between worlds without asking?" Before Danny could answer, the shadows around them deepened. Not naturally, not even supernaturally. This was something else, a presence that made his ghostly half scream warnings while his human half locked up in primal terror. A figure emerged from the darkness like it had always been there, waiting, tall, athletic, wrapped in a cape that seemed woven from Gotham's own shadows. The white eyes of the cowl locked onto Danny with an intensity that felt like being dissected. "Constantine," Batman said, his voice the sound of gravel and grinding stone. "Explain why there's an unregistered meta in my city who reads as both alive and dead on Justice League Dark's sensors." Danny felt his transformation flicker, his body threatening to shift back to human form under the weight of that stare. He forced his powers to stabilize, floating a few inches higher to avoid looking up at the dark night. "Hey, I'm Danny Fenton," he said, trying for his usual confident quip and landing somewhere closer to nervous teenager. "Danny Fenton when I'm not, dead, half dead. It's complicated, and I really didn't mean to crash your city. Dimensional accident. Happens more than you'd think." If you want to see more characters enter different universes, hit that subscribe button and drop the name of a character and the universe you'd want to see them in down in the comments below. Hope shines brightest in the darkest night. Batman's expression didn't change. Danny wasn't even sure the man had expressions under that cowl. "You'll come with us. The Watchtower has holding cells designed for supernatural entities. We'll determine if you're a threat, and then we'll discuss your accident." "I'm not going anywhere in handcuffs," Danny said, his hands glowing brighter. "I'm a hero in my world. I've saved my town dozens of times. Just because I'm dead doesn't make me a villain." Constantine stepped between them, which was either very brave or very stupid. "Easy, Bats. The kid's not lying. I can taste truth, and he believes every word. But he's also radiating enough death energy to wake things that shouldn't be woken. We need to figure out what he is before something worse than vampires comes looking." The vampire Danny had fought earlier chose that moment to burst from the rubble, fangs bared and eyes wild with hunger. It never reached them. A batarang whistled through the air, trailing wire that wrapped around the creature's legs. Batman moved like liquid shadow, and suddenly the vampire was pinned to the alley wall with 3 more batarangs through its coat. "Silver-coated," Batman said flatly. "This city has protocols." He looked back at Danny. "You have 3 seconds to decide. Voluntary cooperation with the Justice League, or I treat you as a hostile supernatural entity in Gotham. Choose." Danny's ghost sense pulsed again, stronger now. Something was coming, something big. The dimensional breach that brought him here hadn't fully closed. He could feel it pulling at his core, threatening to tear wider. "Fine," Danny said. "But I'm not a prisoner. I'm a consultant. And if something's about to come through that rift behind me, you're going to want me on your side when it does." Constantine's eyes widened. "Rift? What bloody rift?" Danny pointed at empty air. To their eyes, nothing was there, but to his half-dead vision, reality was tearing at the seams, and through the gap, he could see the swirling green chaos of the ghost zone and the shapes moving through it toward Earth. "That rift," Danny said. "And unless DC Universe ghosts are friendlier than Ghost Zone ghosts, we've got about 5 minutes before this gets really bad." Batman was already moving, tapping his cowl's communicator. "Constantine, contain that breach. Phantom, stay visible and don't make me regret this." He paused. "Alfred, prepare the cave for magical quarantine. We have a code black supernatural event." Danny felt the weight of those words. Code black. In a city like Gotham, that probably meant something apocalyptic, and he'd brought it with him. "Welcome to the DC Universe, Fenton," he thought grimly. "Try not to get everyone killed." The Batcave was the opposite of everything Danny had expected. Sure, there was the giant penny and the dinosaur robot, because apparently Batman collected souvenirs from his cases like Danny's mom collected fudge samples. But the part that really threw him was the cathedral-like atmosphere. Massive, dark, echo-prone. It felt less like a hero's headquarters and more like a temple to obsession carved into Gotham's bedrock. Constantine traced glowing sigils in the air around Danny, muttering in languages that made Danny's ghost half itch. Each symbol flared gold before fading, and the magician's frown deepened with every passing second. "Impossible," Constantine said for the 3rd time. "Absolutely bloody impossible." "That's what my parents said when I told them I wanted to be an astronaut," Danny quipped, trying to ignore how the magical circle made his ectoplasm crawl. "Then I died and became half ghost. Impossible seems to be my specialty." Batman loomed nearby, still as a gargoyle, watching everything with those white-lensed eyes. Behind him, an elderly man in a pristine suit. Alfred, Danny assumed, prepared what looked like tea service. Because apparently, even during supernatural crises, British butlers had standards. Constantine pulled a silver flask from his coat, took a long drink, then offered it to Danny. "You're going to want this, kid. What I'm about to tell you is going to hurt." "I'm 14, Danny said, "and you're dead. Bit late for worrying about drinking age." Constantine took another swig when Danny refused. "Right? Here's the problem. You say you're half dead, yeah? Caught between living and dying in some portal accident. In your universe, maybe that works, but here, in the DC universe?" He gestured at the fading sigils. "Death doesn't work like that. Death is a person, one of the endless, older than gods, more powerful than most cosmic entities. When something dies in this universe, she personally shepherds it to whatever comes after. You don't just split the difference and stay half dead. That's not how the rules work." Danny felt a chill that had nothing to do with his ice powers. "But I am half dead. I can transform." He let the rings of light wash over him, shifting from ghost to human in an instant. His white hair turned black, his glowing green eyes became blue, and his hazmat suit transformed into jeans and a t-shirt that read Planetary Exploration Club. He shifted back just as quickly. "See, dead and alive. Schrödinger's teenager." "That's the problem," Batman said, his voice cutting through the cave like a blade. "According to every scan I've run, you don't just transform between states. Both states exist simultaneously. You're quantum-locked in superposition, observably alive and observably dead at the same moment. That shouldn't be possible in this reality." "Master Bruce," Alfred interjected smoothly, setting a tea tray on the console. "Perhaps we should consider that the young man's impossible nature is precisely why he's here. The universe does tend toward balance, after all." He offered Danny a cup. "Earl Grey." I find it helps with existential crises. Danny took the tea gratefully. It was warm, real, and grounded him when everything else felt like it was spinning out of control. Look, I get that I'm weird. Trust me, I've spent 2 years dealing with that, but in my universe, there are rules. The Ghost Zone is a parallel dimension where ectoplasmic entities exist. I got caught in an accident that infused me with ectoplasm and basically made me a bridge between worlds. Half human DNA, half ectoplasmic energy. It's not that complicated. Except ectoplasm doesn't exist here, Constantine said, lighting another cigarette despite Alfred's disapproving look. We've got spectral entities, sure. Souls, demons, the odd ghost clinging to the mortal plane. But they're all connected to this universe's afterlife systems. Heaven, hell, purgatory, the various death realms. Your Ghost Zone. He made air quotes. That's a whole separate dimension with its own physics. And you're still connected to it, despite being stranded here. Danny felt the truth of that. Even now, his core, the essential ghost part of his being, reached toward the Ghost Zone like a compass pointing north. But the connection was weak, filtered through dimensional barriers that shouldn't exist. The portal accident, Batman said, pulling up holographic displays that showed energy readings Danny couldn't begin to interpret. Describe it in detail. Danny set down his tea, the memory still vivid despite 2 years passing. My parents built a portal to the Ghost Zone in our basement. It didn't work at first. I went inside to check it out. Stupid, I know, and I tripped, hit the activation button from inside. The portal turned on with me in it. He rubbed the back of his neck. I remember dying. I remember every molecule in my body getting ripped apart and restructured. And then I woke up, and I was this. Constantine and Batman exchanged looks. It was Alfred who spoke next, his tone gentle. Master Danny, I must ask an indelicate question. When you died in that portal, did anyone come for you? A woman, perhaps, pale, dressed in black with ancient eyes? Death of the endless, Constantine added. She always comes for the dying. Always. It's her nature, her purpose. If you died, she would have been there. Danny searched his memory. The portal accident was mostly pain and confusion, but there had been a moment, just a split second, where he'd felt something. A presence. Like someone had been reaching for him but couldn't quite grasp him. Like he'd slipped through cosmic fingers. I don't remember seeing anyone, Danny admitted. Just pain and light, and then I was awake again, changed. Because you never finished dying, Batman concluded. The portal restructured you mid-transition. Death tried to claim you, but the ectoplasmic energy transformed you into something new before she could complete the process. You're not half dead, Phantom. You're indefinitely dying. Locked in the moment between life and death, existing in both states because neither can fully claim you. The words hit Danny like a punch to the gut. He'd always known he was different, always felt the weight of being neither fully human nor fully ghost. But hearing it spelled out like this, in a universe where death herself kept records, it made him feel more like a mistake than ever. So what does that mean? Danny asked quietly. Am I going to mess up your universe just by being here? Is death going to show up and finish the job? Constantine laughed, but there was no humor in it. Oh, she'll show up eventually. Count on it. But whether she finishes the job or just has a chat, that depends on you, kid. The Endless are complicated. They deal in concepts, not morality. Death might see you as fascinating, or she might see you as an insult to everything she stands for. Wonderful, Danny muttered. Add potentially anger, the cosmic embodiment of death, to my list of problems. Right under stuck in wrong dimension and above parents would dissect me if they knew. Your parents don't know. Batman's tone sharpened. You've been operating as a superhero without support structure at 14? 15 now, actually. Birthday was last month. Danny met Batman's gaze. Or at least where he thought the man's eyes were behind those white lenses. And yeah, I work alone. My best friends know, help sometimes. But my parents are ghost hunters, the obsessive, shoot first, ask questions, never kind. If they found out their son was half ghost, he let his hands ignite with ectoplasm. I'd be a science experiment, not their kid. Something shifted in Batman's posture. Not quite sympathy. Danny got the feeling Batman didn't do sympathy, but understanding. Alfred, contact the Titans, Robin specifically. I want his assessment of Phantom's capabilities and threat level. You're sending me to the kids' table? Danny tried to sound offended, but honestly, talking to other teenage heroes sounded way better than being interrogated by Batman. I'm sending you to heroes your age who understand working in the shadows, Batman corrected. You'll train with them, and they'll determine if you're trustworthy. I don't care if you're a hero in your universe, Phantom. In this one, you're an unknown variable with powers that break fundamental rules of reality. You'll prove yourself, or you'll be contained. Constantine crushed his cigarette under his heel. And in the meantime, I'm going to figure out what that dimensional rift actually connects to. Because your ghost zone, he pointed at Danny, it's leaking. And if things from your universe start flooding into ours, we're going to have bigger problems than one impossible teenager. Danny felt his ghost sense pulse. Not danger, but proximity. Something supernatural approaching. The Bat computer's screens lit up with alerts, magical sensors, screaming warnings. Speaking of bigger problems, Alfred said mildly, we appear to have a visitor. A figure materialized in the center of the Batcave, passing through solid rock like it was air. He wore a red suit that seemed stitched from shadows, and his translucent form marked him as definitely dead. But unlike any ghost Danny had encountered, this one moved with purpose and confidence that spoke to decades of experience. Batman, the ghost said, then paused, his eyes locking onto Danny. Well, that's new. Constantine, when did the League start recruiting ghosts? I thought I had the monopoly on dead heroes. Constantine's laugh was sharp. Dead man, meet Danny Phantom. He's not from around here. Literally. Different universe, different rules. Same annoying teenage hero complex. Dead man floated closer, circling Danny like a predator assessing prey. Danny tensed, ready to fight or flee. But the ghost's expression showed more fascination than hostility. You're not dead, Deadman said finally. But you're not alive either. I've been dead for years, kid, and I've never felt anything like you. It's like looking into a mirror that reflects something impossible. He extended a ghostly hand. Boston brand, Deadman. I possess people to fight crime. It's a whole thing. Danny shook the offered hand, surprised when he felt solid contact. Most humans passed through his intangible form, but Deadman's ghostly nature let them make actual contact. Danny Fenton, Danny Phantom when I'm ghosting around. I fight ghosts, save my town, fail math tests. Also a whole thing. Oh, I like him, Deadman said, grinning at Batman. He's got that same, I died young and now I'm committed to the bit energy. Can we keep him? He's not a pet, Boston. Batman's tone suggested this was an argument they'd had before, and he's potentially dangerous. His connection to an unknown dimension could... The Batcave's alarms shrieked. Every screen showed the same thing, a massive spike in supernatural energy centered directly above Gotham. The dimensional rift Danny had warned about was tearing wider, and through it, Danny could sense dozens of ghost signatures flooding into DC reality. Skulker, Danny breathed, recognizing one of the signatures immediately. And it feels like... Box Ghost? Seriously, the Box Ghost made it through? He looked at Batman. Okay. Crash course. I've got about 20 of my rogues gallery about to invade Gotham. Most are non-lethal but destructive. A few are genuinely dangerous, and one of them, Skulker, is going to start hunting the moment he realizes there are superheroes here. Your rogues gallery, Batman repeated, his voice flat. You're 15 and you have a rogues gallery. Started when I was 14. What can I say? I'm an overachiever. Danny was already floating toward the exit. Look, we can do the whole prove yourself thing later. Right now, my ghosts are about to tear up your city, and I'm the only one who knows how to fight them. So either trust me or get out of my way, because I'm not letting anyone else get hurt because of my problems. Batman stared at him for 3 long seconds. Then, Alfred, armor protocols. Constantine, magical containment. Deadman, aerial reconnaissance. He looked at Danny. Phantom, don't make me regret this. If any civilians are harmed, you answer to me. Deal, Danny said, then shot through the cave ceiling in a streak of white light. Behind him, he heard Deadman laugh. Oh yeah, I definitely like this kid. He's got that hero death wish we all know and love. Constantine's response was dry. Just what Gotham needs. Another suicidal teenager in a cape. But Danny was already gone, racing toward the rift and the ghosts pouring through it. His first real test in the DC universe wasn't going to be proving he was trustworthy. It was going to be stopping an interdimensional invasion with a city full of superheroes watching his every move. No pressure. The Gotham sky crackled with sickly green energy, the rift tearing wider with each passing second. Danny shot through the storm clouds, ectoplasm trailing behind him like a comet's tail, and immediately recognized the chaos below. Box Ghost was already terrorizing a street corner, animated cardboard boxes swarming a late-night bodega. Skulker soared between buildings, his mechanical suit scanning for worthy prey. And there, oh perfect, Ember McLean was on a rooftop, her ghostly guitar already glowing as she prepared to hypnotize the entire city block. Beware, Box Ghost's voice echoed across Gotham. I am the Box Ghost, terror of all things square and rectangular. Despite everything, Danny almost laughed. Of all the ghosts to invade a city protected by Batman, the Box Ghost was probably the least threatening. But Ember, Skulker, they could do real damage before someone figured out how to fight them. Danny dove toward Ember first, interrupting her opening chord with an ectoblast that sent her sprawling. Hey, Ember, didn't anyone tell you Gotham already has enough noise pollution? She whirled, her blue hair flaming brighter with anger. Dipstick, where the hell are we? This isn't Amity Park, and these people... She gestured at the terrified civilians below. They don't know my music. How am I supposed to become famous if nobody knows who I am? Maybe try not mind-controlling people into being fans. Danny fired again, forcing her to dodge. Novel concept, I know. Their aerial battle lit up the night sky, green and blue ectoplasm painting the storm clouds. Danny kept her engaged, away from civilians, using every trick he'd learned from 2 years of fighting. Intangibility to dodge her sonic attacks, ectoblasts to keep her defensive, ice powers to freeze her guitar strings mid-strum. But he was fighting at less than full capacity, and Ember noticed. You're slow tonight, baby pop, she taunted, landing a sonic blast that sent him crashing through a billboard. That dimensional trip take it out of you? Or maybe... Her eyes widened with realization. You're not home anymore, are you? We're somewhere else. Somewhere your powers don't work right. They work fine, Danny lied, pulling himself from the wreckage. His core ached, the connection to the ghost zone straining with every attack. Just enjoying the Gotham atmosphere. A massive shadow fell over them both. Danny looked up to see the Batwing, Batman's personal aircraft, hovering overhead, weapons systems trained on Ember. The ghost laughed, her music swelling as she prepared to charm everyone on board. No, Danny shot between them, hands raised. Batman, she uses sonic hypnosis. Cover your ears, or... Already compensated. Batman's voice came through external speakers. Helmet has audio filters. Constantine warned me. The Batwing's cannons glowed. Move, Phantom. I have a clear shot. You can't shoot her. She's already dead. Danny looked between Batman's weapons and Ember's growing smile. Your tech won't work on ghosts. You need... A batarang flew past his head, trailing something that looked like prayer beads. It struck Ember dead center, and she screamed as golden light erupted across her form. She flickered, her stability compromised, and Danny felt his jaw drop as Batman's gadget actually worked on a ghost. Consecrated metals, Batman said. Constantine prepared several dozen. Now contain your friend before I use lethal measures. Danny didn't need to be told twice. He pulled out the Fenton thermos. Thank God he'd had it on him when the dimensional breach hit and activated the capture beam. Ember tried to flee, but weakened by whatever Batman had hit her with, she couldn't resist the pull. The thermos sucked her in with a satisfying whoosh, and Danny sealed it tight. One down, he muttered. Then his ghost sense exploded. Oh no, Skulker's found something to hunt. The robotic ghost? Batman's tone sharpened. I'm tracking him. He's engaged with... A pause. With Deadman. They're over Robinson Park. Danny was already flying before Batman finished the sentence. He found Skulker in seconds, the massive mechanical suit grappling with Deadman's ghostly form. But something was wrong. Skulker's sensors were going haywire, unable to process a ghost that existed under different rules. Fascinating, Skulker roared, his mechanical voice eager. A spectral entity with no ectoplasmic signature, you would make an excellent addition to my collection, Spirit. Collection? Deadman phased through another attack. Sorry, Chrome Dome, but I'm not a trophy. I'm a hero. He attempted to possess Skulker, his signature move, but passed right through the mechanical armor without effect. Boston, get clear, Danny yelled, tackling Skulker mid-flight. They crashed through 3 trees before Danny managed to flip them, slamming the hunter ghost into the ground hard enough to crater the park lawn. Skulker, we're not in the ghost zone. Stand down. The ghost child. Skulker's targeting systems locked onto Danny. Excellent. I knew your unusual energy signature would lead me to worthy prey. This dimension teems with hunters and warriors. I can already sense them. The Batman, the Wonder Woman, the Superman. His mechanical suit hummed with excitement. I shall claim the pelts of this world's greatest hunters. Over my dead body, Danny said, then winced. Wait, that didn't come out right. They clashed in a flurry of ectoblasts and rocket fire. Skulker had always been one of Danny's tougher opponents, a skilled hunter in a constantly upgrading suit. But here, cut off from the ghost zone's infinite resources, Danny was struggling to keep up. His stamina was draining faster than normal, every attack pulling from a core that couldn't fully recharge. A grappling line wrapped around Skulker's leg. Batman swung from a nearby tree, using the ghost's momentum to slam him into the ground. Skulker recovered instantly, targeting systems swiveling toward this new threat. Primitive grappling device, Skulker analyzed. Skilled combatant, limited meta-human abilities detected. Threat level, significant. His arm cannon charged. You shall be my first trophy in this realm, Hunter of Gotham. Danny froze Skulker's cannon with an ice blast, buying Batman time to retreat. He's serious, Batman. Skulker collects rare pelts, and he thinks you're rare. I need to what? Batman's tone was absolutely flat as he threw something at Skulker. An explosive batarang detonated against the mechanical suit, doing exactly nothing. I've faced Metallo, Mr. Freeze, and Clayface. Your ghost hunter is outmatched. He's not okay, technically, he is a ghost hunter, but... Danny dodged another rocket. Can we save the explanations for after I capture him? Batman was already moving, and Danny had to admit the man was impressive. No powers, just pure skill and strategy, dodging attacks that would have killed a normal human. He led Skulker on a chase through the park, using every shadow and obstacle, making the ghost hunter work for every shot. Meanwhile, Danny circled above, looking for an opening. Skulker's suit was tough, but there was always a weak point. The neck joint, the power core, His ghost sense went off again. Multiple signatures this time, including one that made his blood run cold, or at least whatever passed for blood in his ghostly form. Oh no. No, no, no. Danny's eyes widened in horror. Batman, we need to finish this now. Technus just came through the rift, and if he gets access to your computer systems. The Bat computer is isolated and encrypted, Batman said, but Danny heard the edge of concern. Technus is a ghost. Your firewalls won't stop someone who can literally possess technology. Danny abandoned subtlety, unleashing his ghostly wail directly at Skulker. The sonic attack caught the hunter off guard, his mechanical suit's audio sensors overloading. Danny didn't let up, pouring every ounce of power into the attack until Skulker's suit started cracking. The hunter ghost flickered, his suit failing. Impossible. The whelp has never maintained his wail this long. What? Danny sealed him in the thermos mid-sentence. He was panting, exhausted, his core burning from the strain. The ghostly wail always took everything he had, and here, with his powers already compromised, it left him feeling hollow. 2 down, he gasped, but Technus is heading toward downtown, and if he finds your Batcave, he won't. Batman was already in motion, pressing something on his gauntlet. Alfred, initiate Protocol Ghost. Full technological lockdown. Nothing electronic within 5 miles of the cave. Danny floated down, landing heavily. Good. That's good. But we still have... His ghost sense pulsed again. At least 15 more ghosts loose in Gotham, including ones I can't fight. Can't or won't. Batman's voice was sharp. Can't. Danny met his gaze steadily. Desiree grants wishes, which means anything anyone wishes for becomes real. Pandora guards an ancient artifact that makes her basically invincible. And if Pariah Dark came through, he shuddered. He's the king of all ghosts. And even with my strongest power, I only beat him by trapping him, not defeating him. Deadman materialized beside them, looking shaken. Kid, I've been dead for years, and I've never seen anything like this. You're rogues gallery. They're breaking every rule of death and life I know. And I felt something else coming through that rift. Something big. Bigger than a ghost king? Batman's tone suggested skepticism. Different, Deadman corrected. Not just death energy. This felt like observation. Like something on the other side is watching to see what happens. Danny's core went cold. Observation. Watching. That sounded like clockwork. The master of time who observed all timelines and only intervened when absolutely necessary. If clockwork was watching this disaster, it meant something significant was happening. Something that affected more than just Danny's accident. A boom tube opened nearby, the distinctive sound of new god technology. Through it stepped someone Danny recognized from pop culture, even if he'd never seen her in person. Wonder Woman. She wore armor that screamed ancient warrior goddess, and the lasso at her hip glowed with golden light. Batman, she said, her voice carrying the authority of someone who'd fought gods. The League is mobilizing. Superman detected multiple hostile entities appearing across the globe. Flash reports similar manifestations in Central City. Green Lantern encountered aggressive spectral beings near Coast City. Her eyes locked onto Danny. And you are the source. It wasn't a question. Danny felt the weight of her judgment, not hostile, but absolute. This was someone who'd fought beside Superman, who'd stood against Darkseid, who'd killed when necessary. A warrior goddess evaluating a potential threat. I'm Danny Phantom, he said, forcing himself not to float backward. Those ghosts came from my dimension. I'm trying to send them back, but you're not strong enough alone, Wonder Woman finished. She studied him with ancient eyes. You fight with honor. I watched you protect civilians first, contain your enemies without killing. Batman vouched for your intentions." She drew her lasso. "But intentions don't prevent catastrophe. If you cannot stop this invasion, I will, even if it means sealing the rift with you on the other side." Danny's core clenched. She meant it, every word. "Diana," Batman interjected. "Phantom has been cooperative. He's provided intelligence and captured 2 hostiles already. We need him." "What we need," a new voice said, young and confident, "is to stop arguing and start coordinating." A figure dropped from a nearby rooftop, a teenager in a red and black costume with a yellow cape. The stylized R on his chest marked him as Robin, and Danny immediately recognized the calculating look in his eyes. This was Batman's protege, trained by the Dark Knight himself. "Phantom," Robin said, extending a hand. "I'm Robin. Batman called the Titans in for backup. We're your age, we fight impossible things regularly, and unlike the grown-ups, we actually trust new heroes until they prove otherwise." His grip was firm. Beast Boy already captured something called a box ghost screaming about cardboard. Starfire's engaging a ghost claiming to control lunch meat. And Raven says your dimensional rift is drawing power from something called the Ghost Zone. He grinned. "So yeah, we're in. Question is, can you teach us how to fight ghosts in the next 5 minutes?" Danny felt something unclench in his chest. Other teenage heroes. People who got it, who understood the insanity of fighting impossible threats while trying to maintain grades and a social life. "Yeah," Danny said, returning the grin. "Yeah, I can do that. But first," he pulled out the Fenton thermos, opened it, and showed them the swirling ectoplasm inside. "You're going to need bigger thermos bottles." Titan's tower rose from the bay like a giant T against Gotham's perpetually stormy sky, which was actually Metropolis Bay. Robin corrected him during the flight. Apparently, the Titans operated between cities, and right now, their mobile headquarters had been repositioned to help contain the ghost crisis. Inside, Danny found himself surrounded by the most diverse team of teenage heroes he'd ever seen. Starfire was actually an alien princess with glowing green eyes and the ability to fly. Finally, someone else who could float. Beast Boy could transform into any animal, which explained how he'd contained the box ghost. Turned into an octopus and just squished the containers until the ghost gave up. Cyborg was half human, half machine. His technology so advanced, it made Danny's parents' inventions look like stone tools. And Raven made Danny's ghost sense scream and go silent simultaneously. She floated cross-legged in the center of the room, wrapped in a blue cloak, her purple hair framing a face that showed zero emotion. But her eyes, when she looked at him, Danny felt like she was seeing through him. Not into his mind exactly, but into his very nature. "You're wrong," she said flatly. "No introduction, no preamble. This universe isn't rejecting you. You're rejecting this universe." "What?" Danny landed, letting his transformation drop to human form. The Titans all tensed, hands going to weapons, but Robin held up a hand. "Easy," he told his team. "He said he could shift between forms." Let him explain. Danny appreciated that. He'd been judged enough for one night. "Danny Fenton," he introduced himself, then transformed back. "Danny Phantom, 2 halves, same person. I'm half human, half ghost." "Dude," Beast Boy said, his green skin contrasting with his wide grin. "That's so cool. I'm all sorts of animals, but you're literally 2 species. Does it hurt? Can you split into 2 people? Do you ever forget which form you're supposed to be in and go to school as a ghost?" "Yes, no, and maybe that one time," Danny admitted. "Look, I know this is weird, but in my universe, this is normal. Well, not normal, but you know what I mean. Friend Danny." Starfire floated closer, her enthusiasm infectious. "Please, you must tell me. In your world, are there many who share your dual nature? On Tamaran, we have the Glorbnak, who exist in both energy and physical states, but they are rare and considered most glorious. Not many, Danny said. Just me and one other. And he's kind of my nemesis. Long story. Cyborg's mechanical eye whirred, scanning Danny with technology that made the teenager feel uncomfortably exposed. Yo, kid, I'm reading two completely different energy signatures from you. Like, your human form registers as standard metahuman, elevated heart rate, adrenaline spike, normal teenage stress. But your ghost form, he whistled. You're reading as non-corporeal, ectoplasmic entity, and somehow still biologically alive. How is that even possible? Portal accident, Danny said for what felt like the 100th time tonight. Got caught between dimensions, died and came back simultaneously. Now I'm stuck like this. It's a whole thing. It's not just a thing, Raven said, her monotone cutting through the chatter. It's an abomination against natural order. She floated closer, her eyes glowing white beneath her hood. I can feel death on you. Not like you've killed. You haven't. Your soul is still light despite the darkness you carry. But you're marked by death itself, touched by the concept but never claimed. You're a gap in the ledger, an unfinished equation. Her expression didn't change, but her voice softened slightly. And it's killing you. Slowly. Existing in two states simultaneously is tearing your essence apart cell by cell. The room went silent. Danny felt his core clench, a cold dread spreading through him. What? Raven, Robin's voice was sharp. We talked about tact. I don't do tact. I do truth. Raven's eyes dimmed back to normal. In your universe, maybe the strain is sustainable. But here, where death is a cosmic law, not just a biological process, your existence is fighting against reality itself. Every moment you stay in this dimension, the conflict between what you are and what this universe says you should be intensifies. So I'm dying. Danny's voice came out smaller than he wanted. Again? No, Raven said. You're becoming. The question is what you'll become, fully dead, fully alive, or something this universe has never seen before. I can teach you to stabilize your essence, to stop fighting against DC's laws and start working with them. But it requires opening yourself to this universe's death energy, and that means confronting what you are. Which is? Danny asked. Dead, Raven said simply. You died in that portal, Danny Fenton, completely. What came back wasn't you surviving, it was you being remade. You're not half alive. You're a ghost possessing your own corpse, keeping it alive through sheer force of will and ectoplasmic energy. The words hit like a physical blow. Danny staggered, his transformation flickering. No, that's not. I'm still me. I have heartbeat, I breathe, You have an ectoplasmic core simulating biological functions, Raven interrupted. Your human form is maintained by your ghost half, not the other way around. You've been lying to yourself, calling yourself half alive because the truth was too painful. Raven, that's enough. Starfire's hands glowed with starfire energy, protective anger flaring. Can you not see friend Danny is distressed? Your words are most hurtful. My words are necessary. Raven turned to face Starfire. He needs to understand what he is before he can learn to control it. Here, in our universe, ghosts and the living follow different rules. He's trying to exist as both, and it's not working. If he wants to survive here, if he wants to send his ghost friends home and maybe find his own way back, he needs to accept reality. Danny's mind reeled. Images flashed through his memory. His parents' weapons, their rants about tearing ghosts apart molecule by molecule, their absolute certainty that ghosts were evil echoes, not people. If Raven was right, if he really was dead. Dude. Beast Boy's hand landed on Danny's shoulder, and the green teenager's usually goofy expression was serious. Hey, look at me. I don't care what Raven says about cosmic laws or whatever. You're here. You're fighting to protect people. That makes you alive in the ways that matter. Got it? Beast Boy's right, Robin said, moving to Danny's other side. I've worked with Batman long enough to know that what you are matters less than what you do. You could be a full ghost, an alien, or a sentient robot. If you're fighting for good, you're a hero. Period. Cyborg nodded. Plus, man, I'm like 40% machine. More than that, honestly. Does that make me less human, less alive? Nah, I'm still me. Still Victor Stone. Still a Titan. Your situation's just more extreme. Danny looked at each of them, these teenagers who'd been strangers 5 minutes ago but were already defending him. Something in his core, his ghost core, he forced himself to acknowledge, settled slightly. Thank you, he said quietly. Then to Raven. If you can help me stabilize, I'm in, but I need to send my ghosts back first. They don't belong here, and every second they're loose, people are in danger. Then we have work to do. Robin pulled up a holographic display showing Gotham and surrounding areas. Red dots marked ghost sightings, dozens of them spreading across the map. Batman's coordinating with the Justice League, but they're struggling. Green Lantern's constructs pass through your ghosts. Flash can't touch them. Even Superman's having trouble. Apparently, ghosts can possess people, including Kryptonians. Overshadowing, Danny confirmed. It's exactly what it sounds like. A ghost takes control of someone's body. Most ghosts can do it, but it leaves them vulnerable. Forcing them out is easier than fighting them directly. How do we force them out? Cyborg asked. Danny thought about it. Back home, he used devices his parents created, modified technology that disrupted ectoplasmic energy. But here, honestly, I'm not sure. In my world, we use technology designed specifically for ghosts, but Batman's consecrated weapons worked on Ember, so maybe... Magic, Raven interrupted. Your ghosts operate on ectoplasmic energy, which is similar to mystical energy in our universe. They're vulnerable to magical attacks, blessed items, and anything that disrupts supernatural entities. Constantine would be effective against them. Constantine's doing containment rituals around the city, Robin said, which means we're the front line. So here's the plan. Phantom, you're with me and Raven. We'll handle the most dangerous ghosts, the ones you say you can't fight alone. Starfire, Beast Boy, Cyborg, you three work cleanup. Capture the weaker ghosts, protect civilians, and call for backup if anything gets hairy. And how exactly do we capture them? Beast Boy asked. I tried biting a ghost as a T-Rex, went right through him. Very embarrassing. Danny pulled out the Fenton thermos. This is ghost containment technology from my world. I've only got one, but maybe Cyborg could analyze it. Build more. Cyborg took the thermos, his mechanical eye scanning it thoroughly. After a moment, he grinned. Oh yeah, this is basically a pocket dimension stabilizer with ectoplasmic signature targeting. I can work with this. Give me an hour in the workshop, I'll have a dozen ready. We don't have an hour, Robin said. Ghost sightings are accelerating. Whatever's keeping that dimensional rift open is pulling more through. Danny's ghost sense pulsed, and he felt his core twist with recognition. Not just any ghost, a specific one. One he'd been dreading. Guys, he said slowly, we have a bigger problem. I'm sensing Vlad Masters, Vlad Plasmius. He's another Halfa like me, but older, more powerful, and definitely not a hero. If he's come through... The tower shook. Alarms blared. Starfire's eyes went wide as she looked at the external cameras. Friends, a man in white and black armor approaches from the east. He appears most menacing. Danny rushed to the window, and his heart, or his ectoplasmic core simulating cardiac function, whatever, sank. There he was, Vlad Plasmius, flying through Gotham's sky like he owned it, pink ectoplasmic energy crackling around his fists. The billionaire-turned-ghost villain spotted Titan's tower and smiled, a predatory grin that Danny knew too well. "Daniel," Vlad's voice boomed, amplified by his ghostly powers. "How wonderful, a new dimension to conquer, and my dear boy to share it with. Tell me, do they have billionaires here? Corrupt politicians, nuclear power plants I can manipulate? Oh, the possibilities." "Oh man," Danny breathed. "This is bad. This is really, really bad." "Bad how?" Robin asked, already moving toward the exit. "What makes this ghost worse than the others?" "He's like me," Danny said, transforming. "Half ghost, half human, but he's had 20 years to master his powers, and he's completely crazy. Wants to kill my dad, marry my mom, and make me his evil son. Also, he's a billionaire, genius inventor, and master manipulator. If he's here, in a universe full of people he can overshadow and systems he can corrupt." A massive pink ectoblast struck the tower, rocking it on its foundation. Vlad floated outside, arms crossed, looking absolutely delighted. "Titans," he said, his voice dripping with false charm. "How quaint. Tell me, are you this dimension's version of teenage heroes? Do you have a billionaire benefactor? Because I'm suddenly very interested in making donations." "I don't think so, you Fruit Loop." Danny shot through the window, engaging Vlad directly. Their ectoplasm clashed, green against pink, and the familiar rhythm of their battles took over. Duck, dodge, blast, shield. They'd fought so many times that Danny knew every move, every strategy. But this time was different. Here, Danny was weakened by dimensional strain, while Vlad seemed perfectly fine, actually thriving in this new universe. "You feel it too, don't you, Daniel?" Vlad taunted, knocking Danny back with a powerful blast. "This universe has rules, structure, and those of us who master such things," he gestured grandly, "can accomplish great things. Unlike that chaotic ghost zone, this reality rewards planning and power. I've already sensed dozens of powerful beings, each with their own weakness to exploit. It's magnificent." The Titans burst from the tower, Starfire leading with star bolts, while Raven chanted containment spells. Beast Boy transformed into a pterodactyl, diving at Vlad from above. Robin threw batarangs. Wait, where did he get those? While Cyborg charged his sonic cannon. Vlad duplicated himself 4 times, each copy engaging a different Titan. Delightful, such diversity. An alien, a shapeshifter, a cyborg, a demon spawn, and a normal human with wonderful gadgets. "Tell me, boy," this to Robin, "do you serve under a billionaire mentor? Someone brilliant and ruthless? Because if so, I'd love to meet him. We'd have so much to discuss." "You mean Batman?" Robin dodged a duplicate's blast. "Yeah, he's gonna love you, especially the corrupt politician vibe you're giving off." Danny watched Vlad toy with the Titans and realized with growing horror that his worst nightmare was coming true. Vlad was adapting, learning, already figuring out the rules of this universe and how to exploit them. If they didn't stop him now, before he made connections with villains like Lex Luthor or learned about places like Arkham Asylum, Vlad would become unstoppable. "Raven," Danny called, "can you trap him? Magical containment?" "Working on it." Raven's spell circles glowed brighter. "But he's phasing through my magic the same way he phases through physical matter. I need time to adjust the spell." Time they didn't have. Vlad gathered energy, preparing a massive attack that would level the tower and everyone in it. Danny had one option. One desperate, exhausting option that would leave him completely drained. He flew directly at Vlad, passing through his duplicates and tackling the original. Before Vlad could react, Danny grabbed him and flew straight down, phasing them both through the ground, through dirt and stone and the earth itself, going deeper and deeper until they were miles underground. "What are you doing, you foolish boy?" Vlad struggled, but Danny held tight, drawing on every ounce of his remaining power. Down here, cut off from open air and energy sources, surrounded by earth and rock, They were both weakened. "Stopping you," Danny gasped. "You can't adapt if you're sealed away." "I learned that fighting Pariah Dark." "By trapping us both?" Vlad laughed, but Danny heard the edge of uncertainty. "You'll condemn yourself along with me. How very heroic and stupid." "Not both." Danny pulled out a second Fenton thermos, his backup, kept for emergencies. "Just you, and I'm not sorry." He activated it point blank, the capture beam pulling at Vlad's form. The older Halfa fought it, his power thrashing against Danny's hold, but here, underground, weakened and surprised, he couldn't break free. "Daniel, you can't. We're the only two Halfas in existence. You need me. I'm the only one who understands." The thermos sealed with a click. Silence fell in the underground chamber Danny had created, broken only by his ragged breathing, or whatever passed for breathing when you were apparently a ghost animating your own corpse. Danny floated there in the darkness, exhausted beyond measure, his core flickering like a dying flame. He'd used everything he had: the ghostly whale, the underground flight, the capture. Now he was miles beneath the surface, with barely enough energy to phase back up. "Really should have thought this through," he muttered, then started the long, agonizing journey back to the surface. Behind him, sealed in the thermos, Vlad's muffled threats echoed. "This isn't over, Daniel. Mark my words. When I escape, and I will escape, you'll regret this. This universe will regret it." Danny didn't have the energy to care. He just needed to get back to the Titans, seal the rift, and figure out what the hell Raven meant about him becoming something new. One crisis at a time, Fenton. One crisis at a time. Danny finally phased through the tower's floor 3 hours later, collapsing in human form on the Titan's common room couch. Every muscle ached. His core felt like someone had wrung it out like a wet towel, and he was pretty sure he'd accidentally phased through at least 2 sewage pipes on his way up. "He returns," Beast Boy cheered, then paused. "Dude, you look terrible. Like, worse than when Raven tells me my jokes aren't funny, which is often, very often." Raven materialized beside the couch, her expression unreadable as always. "You went underground with Plasmius, fought him in close quarters where both your powers were suppressed. Risky." "It worked," Danny managed, holding up the thermos containing Vlad. "One evil Halfa secured. How's the rest of the cleanup going?" "Better now that cyborgs built containment devices." Robin entered carrying a Fenton thermos copy. Crude, clearly rushed, but functional. "We've captured 12 ghosts total. The dimensional rift is still active, but Constantine says it's stabilizing now that the 2 strongest sources, you and Plasmius, aren't actively pulling on it." "Pulling on it?" Danny forced himself to sit up. "I'm not pulling on anything. I just want to go home." "Your core is." Raven sat cross-legged, floating at eye level with Danny. "Every moment you exist here, your ectoplasmic energy reaches toward the ghost zone like a magnet. You're not doing it consciously, but your ghostly nature is trying to reconnect with its home dimension. That's what's keeping the rift open." Danny felt cold understanding settle over him. "So as long as I'm here, the ghost zone will keep bleeding through?" "Eventually." Raven's tone was gentle, which somehow made it worse. "The rift will stabilize at a low level. Small ghosts, minor entities. But it won't fully close until you leave or die. Completely die, this time." "Well, that's not ominous at all," Danny muttered. He stood, wobbling slightly, and transformed back to ghost form. The change usually energized him, but now it just made him more aware of how empty his core felt. "I need to seal that rift properly. Is Constantine still—" The tower's alarms shrieked. Every screen in the room flashed red, and Cyborg's mechanical components all sparked simultaneously as if hit by an EMP. "What the—" Cyborg clutched his head, his eye flickering. "Massive energy surge. Something's punching through dimensional barriers, and it's locked onto—" His eye focused on Danny. onto Phantom's unique signature. Starfire's eyes blazed green with concern. Locked onto? What would lock onto friend Danny? The answer came as reality itself tore open 20 feet above the tower. Not a ghost zone rift. This was different, darker. A swirling vortex of black and purple energy that made Danny's ghost sense scream warnings in a pitch he'd never heard before. From that vortex came prisoners, dozens of them, all wearing the same black and white prison uniforms marked with strange symbols. And they were all looking at Danny with expressions ranging from hunger to fury to desperate hope. The half-dead one prisoner snarled, a hulking brute with red skin. He smells of both life and death. Seize him. No, a woman with crystalline features shoved the brute aside. The prophecy spoke of one who exists beyond death's claim. He can free us. Danny had no idea what they were talking about, but he knew danger when he saw it. He fired ectoblasts at the nearest prisoners, but they shrugged off the attacks like they were nothing. These weren't ghosts. They were something else entirely, and his powers barely affected them. "Titans, go!" Robin commanded, already moving. The team scattered into practiced formation, engaging the prisoners with everything they had. Starfire's star bolts actually seemed to hurt them, and Raven's magic created barriers that held for precious seconds. Danny flew higher, trying to assess the situation, when something grabbed his ankle and yanked him through the vortex. Reality inverted. Sound became color, became sensation, became wrongness. Danny tumbled through a dimension that existed outside normal space, where time moved sideways and geometry was a polite suggestion. He could feel his core stretching, thinning, trying to exist in a place that wasn't meant for the living or the dead. He crashed onto a surface that might have been ground. Above him, or below, or sideways, stretched an endless void dotted with crystalline prisons, each containing a figure suspended in frozen time. The Phantom Zone. He'd read about it in comic books back home, but seeing it was different. This was a prison dimension, a place where Krypton's worst criminals were sealed away from reality itself. Fascinating. The voice came from everywhere and nowhere. A figure materialized, humanoid but not quite human, wrapped in robes that seemed woven from the void itself. A being who should not exist, yet does. Half claimed by death, half clinging to life. "Tell me, child, how does it feel to break the universe?" "I didn't break anything." Danny scrambled to his feet, hands glowing with ectoplasm. "I just want to go home." "Home," the figure laughed, a sound like breaking glass. "But which home? The ghost zone that births your power, the living world that shaped your soul, or here?" It gestured to the endless prison, where you truly belong. You are Phantom, child, neither real nor unreal, a prisoner in your own existence. "I'm not a prisoner," Danny said, but his voice wavered. "I chose this. I chose to keep fighting after I died." "Did you?" The figure moved closer, and Danny saw its face was a mask of mirrors, each reflecting a different version of himself. Human Danny. Ghost Danny. Dead Danny. Danny who never entered the portal. Danny who stayed dead. Danny who became fully ghost. Or did the portal make the choice for you? Did it trap you in transformation, unable to move forward or back? Danny's core clenched. He'd wondered that himself during dark nights when his parents talked about dissecting the ghost boy. Had he really survived, or was he just too stubborn to finish dying? "It doesn't matter," Danny said, forcing strength into his voice. "I am what I am, and right now, I'm someone who's going to stop your prisoners from hurting my friends." "My prisoners?" The figure tilted its masked head. "Child, I'm not their jailer. I am merely an observer, one of many who watch this dimension. But you resonate with the Phantom Zone because you are Phantom yourself. Your half-dead nature called to this place, and the prisoners heard. They believe you can free them, bridge the gap between prison and reality. It gestured, and Danny saw through the void to where his body had been pulled from. The Titans were fighting a losing battle against dozens of Kryptonian criminals, each with powers that rivaled Superman's. "I can't free them," Danny protested. "I don't even know how I got here." "Don't you?" The figure pointed at Danny's chest, where his core, the essential ghost part of his being, pulsed with ectoplasmic energy. "You exist in spaces between life and death, real and unreal, dimensions overlapping. The Phantom Zone exists in similar space, between punishment and release, between reality and void. Your very presence weakens the barriers." Horror crept through Danny. "So by existing here, I'm helping them escape? By existing anywhere, you create ripples." The figure began fading. "The question is whether you'll learn to control those ripples or let them drown worlds. Choose quickly, Phantom Child. Your friends are dying." Danny was slammed back through the vortex, reality reasserting itself with painful force. He materialized above Titan's tower just in time to see Starfire get backhanded by a Kryptonian criminal, sending her crashing through 2 buildings. "Starfire!" Beast Boy roared, transforming into a T-Rex and lunging at her attacker. The criminal caught him mid-leap, holding the massive dinosaur like a toy. Raven's barrier was cracking under assault from 3 prisoners working together. Robin was down, his costume torn, and Cyborg's systems were overloading from trying to fight opponents who could bench press mountains, and it was Danny's fault. His existence had called them here, weakened the Phantom Zone's barriers, given them a path to freedom. "No more," Danny whispered. His core blazed, drawing on reserves he didn't know he had. "I didn't ask to be this. Didn't ask to break reality. But I'm not letting anyone else get hurt because of me." He flew straight up, above the battle, above the city, until he could see the Ghost Zone rift and the Phantom Zone vortex existing side by side, 2-dimensional breaches pulled together by his impossible existence. Danny spread his arms and opened his core completely, dropping every defense, every wall he'd built between his living and dead halves. He let himself feel the full weight of what he was, a boy who died but refused to stop living, a ghost who clung to humanity, a bridge between worlds that shouldn't connect. And he pulled. The rift and vortex began collapsing inward, drawn toward Danny like water down a drain. Prisoners screamed, trying to escape back to the Phantom Zone. Ghosts from the Ghost Zone struggled against the pull, but Danny didn't discriminate. He drew everything toward himself, containing it, accepting it, becoming what that masked figure had said, a space between spaces. Pain exploded through him. His core stretched beyond any limit, trying to hold dimensional breaches inside himself. He felt his human form struggling to manifest, his ghost form flickering, both states trying to exist while being torn apart. Below, he heard Robin shouting, Raven chanting, but Danny couldn't stop. If he released this now, both dimensions would tear Gotham apart. "I'm sorry," he gasped to anyone listening. To his parents who'd never know what happened to their son. To his friends Sam and Tucker back home. To Jazz who'd protected his secret. "I'm sorry I couldn't be what you needed." Then a hand grabbed his shoulder, and power unlike anything Danny had felt flowed into him. Not ectoplasm, not magic. Something fundamental. Strength born from Earth's sun, channeled through Kryptonian biology. "Easy, kid." Superman's voice was gentle despite the godlike power radiating from him. "I've got you. Just hold on a little longer." Superman was glowing with solar energy, sharing it with Danny somehow, bolstering his failing core. And beside Superman floated another figure, Martian Manhunter, his telepathic presence a soothing coolness against Danny's burning core. "You are not alone," John Johns' voice echoed in Danny's mind. "We feel your burden. Let us share it." Together, the three of them pulled. Superman's strength, John's mental fortitude, Danny's unique ability to exist between states. The dimensional breaches collapsed fully, sealing with a sound like reality sighing in relief. The Phantom Zone prisoners were sucked back into their void, their shouts fading to nothing. The Ghost Zone rift snapped shut, cutting off Danny's connection to home with a pain that felt like losing a limb. And Danny fell, transformation failing, becoming fully human for the first time since the accident. No ghost form to catch him, no powers to slow his fall. Just Danny Fenton, 14-year-old boy, plummeting toward Gotham's unforgiving streets. Superman caught him 3 feet from impact, cradling him with impossible gentleness for someone who could juggle planets. "Easy," Superman said again. "I've got you. You're safe now." But Danny wasn't sure that was true. Because as consciousness faded, as exhaustion dragged him under, he felt his core, the essential ghost part of his being, go silent for the first time since the accident, and he didn't know if it would ever wake up again. Danny woke in the Watchtower's medical bay, which he recognized from the massive windows showing Earth hanging in space like a blue marble. The sight should have been awe-inspiring. Instead, it just made him feel farther from home than ever. He tried to sit up and immediately regretted it. Every muscle screamed protest, and worse, he couldn't feel his core. The constant hum of ectoplasmic energy that had defined his existence for 2 years was just gone. Silent, empty. "Don't move." Batman materialized from the shadows, because of course he did. "You've been unconscious for 6 hours. Your energy signature collapsed completely after sealing the dimensional breaches." Danny looked at his hands. Human hands. No glow, no transformation rings waiting, no ectoplasm dancing under his skin. Just normal, powerless, completely alive hands. "I can't transform," Danny said, his voice cracking. "I can't feel my ghost half. It's just gone." "Not gone." Superman entered carrying a tray of food that smelled amazing and made Danny realize he was starving. "Dormant." Martian Manhunter performed a telepathic scan with your permission. "You were mumbling yes to everything while unconscious, so we took that as consent. Your ectoplasmic core exhausted itself completely. It's regenerating, but slowly. Without a connection to your ghost zone, it has no external power source." Danny accepted the tray numbly. Burger, fries, apple juice. Normal food for a suddenly very normal teenager. "How long until it regenerates?" Superman and Batman exchanged glances. "We don't know," Superman admitted. "You're unique, Danny. We've consulted with every expert we have. Magical, scientific, Kryptonian, Martian. No one's encountered anything like you. A being who exists as both living and dead simultaneously, powered by a dimension we can't access." "What we do know," Batman said, his tone leaving no room for argument, "is that you're staying here until we understand what you are and whether you pose a threat." "A threat?" Danny's exhaustion burned away in a flash of anger. "I just sealed 2 dimensional rifts. I stopped Phantom Zone prisoners from rampaging through your city. I captured my own rogues gallery. What more do I have to do to prove I'm on your side?" "You nearly tore reality apart by existing," Batman countered. "Your presence weakened dimensional barriers across the globe. Flash reported ghost zone manifestations in Central City. Green Lantern encountered ectoplasmic entities near Oe. Aquaman found underwater ghosts in Atlantean ruins. You're a walking dimensional breach, Phantom." The words stung because they were true. Danny had known he was different, known his powers were dangerous in the wrong hands, but he'd never considered that his mere existence could threaten entire dimensions. "So what?" Danny set down the untouched food. "You're going to lock me up, keep me in some cell until you figure out how to send me home or make me disappear." "We're going to help you." Wonder Woman entered, her presence filling the room with authority and compassion in equal measure. Batman sees threats because it's his nature, but I see a young warrior who sacrificed his own power to protect strangers in a world not his own. That deserves respect, not imprisonment. She sat beside Danny's bed and up close. He could see the ancient wisdom in her eyes. This was someone who'd lived centuries, fought gods, and understood sacrifice on a level Danny was only beginning to grasp. "You remind me of my sisters," Diana said gently. "The Amazons of Themyscira exist between worlds, mortal yet touched by gods, warriors yet advocates for peace. We are bridges, Daniel, and bridges often bear weight from both sides. It is our burden and our strength." Danny felt something tight in his chest loosen slightly. "I just want to go home, back to my family, my friends. My town needs me." "Your town has survived without you before," Batman said, but his tone had softened fractionally. "And it will survive until we find a way to return you safely. But first, we need to address the immediate problem." He pulled up a holographic display showing Gotham's skyline. A figure floated above the city, translucent, dressed in Victorian-era clothing, with an ornate sword at his side and a top hat perched jauntily on his head. "Gentleman Ghost," Superman said. "James Craddock, English highwayman executed in the 1800s, cursed to remain a ghost until his killer, a man named Hawkman, dies. Except Hawkman reincarnates eternally, so Gentleman Ghost is stuck haunting the world. He's a thief primarily, but lately he's been acting strange." "Strange how?" Danny asked, studying the figure. This was a DC Universe ghost, operating under completely different rules than Ghost Zone entities. "He's searching for something," Batman said. "Breaking into magical repositories, interrogating occult experts, attacking mystics. And 3 hours ago, he announced to all of Gotham that he's looking for the Phantom Boy who defies death." Danny's stomach sank. "Me? He's looking for me." "We believe so," Wonder Woman confirmed. Deadman spoke with him briefly before Gentleman Ghost attacked. "He claims you're the key to something, a way to break supernatural curses, perhaps, or to manipulate the boundaries between life and death. Whatever his goal, he's dangerous and persistent." "And you want me to help stop him," Danny finished, "even though I'm powerless right now." "We want you to help us understand him," Batman corrected. "You know ghosts better than anyone in this dimension. What would motivate a ghost cursed to eternal existence to seek out someone like you?" Danny thought about it, drawing on 2 years of fighting spectral entities. "Hope," he said finally. "Ghosts, at least in my experience, are driven by obsession. Whatever they wanted most in life becomes their entire existence after death. If Gentleman Ghost is cursed to remain a ghost, his obsession is probably escaping that curse. And if he thinks I can help..." Danny met Batman's eyes. "Then he won't stop until he has me. One way or another." The watchtower's alarms blared. Cyborg's voice came over the intercom. "We've got a situation. Gentleman Ghost just appeared in the watchtower's teleporter room. He bypassed every security system like they weren't there. He's heading for the medical bay." "How is that possible?" Superman was already moving. "The watchtower's defenses include magical wards specifically designed to prevent supernatural intrusion." "Apparently not well enough," Batman growled, positioning himself between Danny and the door. Wonder Woman drew her sword. The God Killer, Danny remembered from comic books, while Superman's eyes began glowing with heat vision. The medical bay doors didn't open. Gentleman Ghost simply walked through them, tipping his hat politely to the assembled heroes. "Good evening," he said in a refined British accent. "Terribly sorry for the intrusion, but I'm afraid I must speak with the young Phantom. It's rather urgent, you see. A matter of life and death. Or rather," he smiled, revealing sharp teeth, "death and undeath and everything delightfully in between." Danny stood, ignoring the weakness in his legs. Even without powers, he wouldn't hide behind others. "What do you want with me?" Gentleman Ghost's eyes, glowing orbs in his translucent face, fixed on Danny with disturbing intensity. "Want? My dear boy, I don't want anything from you. I want to offer you something. Knowledge. Specifically, knowledge about what you truly are and what you're becoming. We already know what he is, Batman said coldly. A dimensional anomaly who needs to return home. Oh, do you? Gentleman Ghost laughed, circling the heroes like they were furniture. Tell me, Detective, do you know why the Phantom Zone resonated with young Daniel? Why Kryptonian criminals sensed him as kindred? Why his very existence draws supernatural entities like moths to flame? Because he's half dead, Wonder Woman said, her sword tracking the ghost's movement. Half dead, yes, but becoming something more. Gentleman Ghost stopped in front of Dana, and despite lacking a physical form, his presence felt suffocating. Tell me, boy, when you sealed those dimensional rifts, what did you feel? Danny remembered. The pain, yes, but also something else. A sense of connection, of understanding how dimensions fit together, how the barriers between them could be manipulated. For a moment, he'd been neither alive nor dead, but something that existed in the space between all realities. I felt... Danny struggled to find words. Like I could see how everything connected. Life, death, dimensions. Like I was part of the structure instead of just existing in it. Precisely. Gentleman Ghost clapped his translucent hands. You're not just a boy who died and came back, Daniel. You're becoming a psychopomp, a being who guides souls between realms, who exists in the liminal spaces. In your world, perhaps such a transformation would take decades. But here, in the DC universe where death herself walks, he leaned close. Here, such transformations happen quickly and painfully. You're lying, Superman said, but Danny heard uncertainty in his voice. Am I? Then explain why every ghost in this dimension can sense the boy, why the Phantom Zone weakened around him, why even I, cursed to eternal ghostly existence, feel compelled to find him. Gentleman Ghost straightened his hat. The universe is trying to give young Daniel a purpose, a role. He died incompletely in his dimension, and now this dimension is attempting to complete the process by transforming him into something it needs. Raven materialized through the wall, her arrival so sudden that even Batman twitched. He's telling the truth, she said flatly. I've been monitoring Danny's essence. His core isn't just regenerating, it's changing, adapting to DC's rules about life and death. In another few days, he won't be half dead from his dimension. He'll be half dead from ours, a true phantom existing between mortal and spirit worlds. And that's bad? Danny asked, though he already knew the answer. It means you'll never fully return to your world, Raven said. Your core is being rewritten by this universe's laws. Even if we find a way to send you home, you won't fit there anymore. You'll be incompatible with Ghost Zone physics the same way you're incompatible with DC's death system now. The words hit Danny like a physical blow. Never go home. Never see his parents, even if they didn't know what he was. Never fight alongside Sam and Tucker. Never protect Amity Park. Everything he'd fought for, sacrificed for, would be lost. No, Danny whispered. There has to be a way. I can fight this. You can't fight evolution, dear boy, Gentleman Ghost said, not unkindly. But you can choose what you evolve into. That's why I'm here. I've existed as a ghost for 2 centuries, unable to move forward or back. I've learned things about death in this universe. Secrets that even the Justice League Dark doesn't know. And I can teach you to control your transformation, to become what you wish rather than what the universe demands. In exchange for what? Batman demanded. You don't offer help without price. Quite right, Detective. Gentleman Ghost's smile returned. In exchange, young Daniel will help me with one tiny task. There's a certain reincarnating Hawk I need to have a conversation with, and his current incarnation, Carter Hall, I believe, is proving difficult to corner. But if I had someone who could exist between dimensions, who could follow him between lives, he spread his hands. Well, that would be most useful. You want me to help you kill Hawkman? Danny said flatly. Kill? Heavens no. He'll just reincarnate again. No, I want closure. A conversation. An apology, perhaps, for the hanging that cursed me to this existence. Nothing more. He's lying, Wonder Woman said. Gentleman Ghost has tried to kill Hawkman dozens of times. Well, yes, but that was before I met someone who might actually help me find peace. The Ghost's expression turned almost vulnerable. 2 centuries, boy. 200 years of watching the world change while I remain frozen in the moment of my death. I've tried everything. Magic, science, deals with demons. Nothing works because my curse is tied to Hawkman's existence. And Hawkman is eternal. But you, he pointed at Danny, you're learning to exist outside normal rules of life and death. If anyone could help me find genuine rest, it's you. Danny looked at the assembled heroes. Superman's expression showed sympathy mixed with caution. Wonder Woman held her sword ready but seemed conflicted. Batman's face was unreadable behind the cowl, but his stance suggested he was calculating probabilities and backup plans. And Raven. Raven was watching Danny with those knowing eyes, seeing the decision form before he'd fully made it. I'll hear you out, Danny said finally, but I'm not promising anything. And if you try to hurt anyone, Hawkman included, I'll find a way to stop you even without powers. Gentleman Ghost bowed deeply. I wouldn't expect anything less from a true hero. Shall we? He gestured toward the wall. He's not going anywhere without supervision, Batman said. Diana, you'll accompany them. Your lasso can compel truth if Gentleman Ghost betrays us. He won't, Danny interrupted, surprising himself. But something in the Ghost's desperate hope felt familiar. Danny had been there, trapped between identities, desperate for someone to understand. He's too tired to lie anymore, aren't you? Gentleman Ghost's smile was sad. Exhausted, dear boy. Utterly exhausted. When you've existed as long as I have, lying loses its appeal. Truth is so much more efficient. Danny stood, legs still shaky but determined. Then let's go. I want to understand what I'm becoming before it's too late to choose. As Wonder Woman and Danny followed Gentleman Ghost through the wall, Diana could phase using divine magic, apparently. Danny heard Superman speak quietly to Batman. He's braver than we were at his age. He's more desperate, Batman corrected. And desperate people make mistakes. Danny pretended not to hear, because Batman was right, and that scared him more than any ghost he'd ever fought. Hawkman's current sanctuary was a converted museum in St. Roch, Louisiana, hundreds of miles from Gotham, but apparently no distance at all when you could phase through solid matter. Gentleman Ghost led them through walls and floors, passing through reality like it was suggestion rather than law, and Danny felt a pang of loss for his own intangibility. Wonder Woman maintained a protective position between Danny and the Ghost, her lasso ready. They materialized in a storage room filled with ancient weapons and artifacts from dozens of civilizations, each carefully cataloged and preserved. Carter, Gentleman Ghost called out cheerfully, I've brought guests, the polite kind who knock with their fists rather than their faces. Heavy footsteps approached, and then Carter Hall, Hawkman, filled the doorway. He was massive, easily 6.5 feet of pure muscle, wearing armor that looked like it came from ancient Egypt mixed with alien technology. Massive wings sprouted from his back, and the mace in his hand crackled with nth metal energy. His eyes locked onto Gentleman Ghost with centuries of hatred. Craddock, I thought we settled this last month when I shattered your sword. You did. Most inconvenient. Had to steal another from a museum. Felt terribly guilty about it. Gentleman Ghost smiled disarmingly. But I'm not here to fight, old friend. I'm here with a proposition. We're not friends, Hawkman growled. You're the bastard who's haunted me across 8 lifetimes. Every time I reincarnate, there you are, seeking revenge for a hanging you deserved. Did I, though? Gentleman Ghost's tone sharpened. I stole to feed my family during a famine. You, as a constable, hanged me for taking bread. Bread, Carter. And in my dying moments, I cursed you, yes, but you cursed me right back by being reborn eternally. My ghost is bound to this world until you die permanently, which means never. Rather unfair, don't you think? Life's not fair, Hawkman said flatly. Then he noticed Danny and Wonder Woman. His expression shifted from anger to confusion. Diana, what are you doing with Craddock? Supervising, Wonder Woman said. This young man is Danny Phantom. He's complicated. And Gentleman Ghost claims he can help Danny understand his nature as a being between life and death. Hawkman's ancient eyes studied Danny, and recognition flickered. You're the anomaly, the half-dead boy who sealed the Phantom's own breach. Nth metal has been resonating strangely since you arrived in our dimension. He hefted his mace. You're Kryptonian. Human. Mostly. Danny stepped forward despite his nervousness. Look, I don't want to get in the middle of your eternal grudge match. I just need information. Gentleman Ghost says I'm transforming into something called a psychopomp, and if that's true, I need to know what it means before it's too late to control. A psychopomp, Hawkman repeated slowly. His anger faded, replaced by scholarly interest. A guide of souls, guardian of thresholds, keeper of the boundaries between life and death. He set down his mace, which Danny took as a good sign. I've lived dozens of lives, studied hundreds of cultures. Almost every civilization has psychopomps, Anubis in Egypt, Hermes in Greece, Shinigami in Japan. They maintain the natural order. But those are gods or divine servants, Danny protested. I'm just a kid who had a lab accident. Were you? Gentleman Ghost interjected. Or did your accident occur precisely because the ghost zone needed a guardian? Think, boy, in your world, ghosts flooded into human reality constantly. Someone had to keep them in check. Perhaps you didn't survive that portal accident. Perhaps you were chosen by it. Danny felt cold. He'd never considered that possibility. His parents built the portal. He'd stupidly gone inside. It activated. Simple accident. Except the portal had never worked before. It had been completely inactive until Danny stepped inside and hit the button from within. What if it needed someone inside? What if it had been waiting for him? No, Danny said firmly. I'm not some chosen one. I'm just a kid who got caught in the wrong place at the wrong time. Keep telling yourself that, Hawkman said, but not unkindly. But consider this. I've reincarnated across 5,000 years. Every life I remember fragments of the previous ones. And in several incarnations, I've encountered beings like you, individuals who exist in liminal spaces, who can cross boundaries others cannot. They always deny their purpose at first, but eventually the role claims them because the universe needs them. What happened to them? Danny asked quietly. Some thrived, became gods in their own right. Hawkman's expression darkened. Others fought their nature, tried to remain purely human or purely divine. Those endings were less pleasant. Define less pleasant, Danny said. Madness, dissolution, or transformation into something worse. Entities of pure entropy that destroy rather than guide. Hawkman crossed his arms. If you're truly becoming a psychopomp, boy, you have two choices: accept it and learn to control it, or fight it and become a threat to all reality. Wonderful options, Danny muttered. He looked at Gentleman Ghost. You said you could teach me to control this transformation. How? By showing you the boundaries, the ghost said. He turned to Hawkman. Which is why I need Carter's cooperation. You see, Hawkman exists in a perpetual cycle of death and rebirth. He's died hundreds of times, been reborn hundreds of times, always remembering pieces of previous lives. He's walked the path between life and death more than any living being I know. If anyone can show Daniel what it means to exist in that space, it's Carter Hall. Hawkman's laugh was sharp. You want me to help the boy by letting him witness my death? I want you to help him by showing him your reincarnation cycle. Gentleman Ghost corrected. Nth metal resonates with soul energy. It's what allows your consciousness to persist across lives. With it, Daniel could perceive the moment of transition, when you die, but before you're reborn. That liminal space is what he needs to understand. Absolutely not, Wonder Woman said. We're not killing Hawkman for an experiment. I'm not suggesting we kill him. Gentleman Ghost looked offended. Merely that we observe. Carter has detailed records of his deaths, yes? Psychometric readings, magical traces. Those could provide insight without any violence. Actually, Hawkman said slowly, and everyone turned to him in surprise. That might work. I've recorded every death I could, trying to understand the reincarnation process. 57 detailed accounts spanning 3,000 years. If Phantom can process that information, see death as I've experienced it, he might understand what he's becoming better than any explanation could provide. You'd share that? Danny asked, surprised. Why help me? Because I've lived long enough to recognize when the universe is pushing someone toward destiny. Hawkman's expression was grim. And because if you become corrupted during this transformation, you'll be a threat to the entire cycle of life and death. Better to help you now than fight whatever you might become later. Danny appreciated the pragmatism, even if it stung. How would this work? Hawkman pulled out a golden helmet, the same one he wore in battle, forged from nth metal. This helm connects to my soul across incarnations. It contains echoes of every death, every rebirth. If you wear it, you'll experience what I've experienced. The pain of dying, the confusion of rebirth, the endless cycle. He held it out. Fair warning, it's not pleasant. Many have tried to wear this helm and gone mad from the psychic feedback. Of course they have, Danny said, but he reached for the helmet anyway. His fingers brushed the metal, and immediately he felt something, a pull, a recognition. The nth metal resonated with whatever his core was becoming, humming with sympathetic energy. Wait, Wonder Woman said, grabbing Danny's wrist. We should consult Batman, run tests. This could be dangerous. It is dangerous, Gentleman Ghost agreed. But so is allowing Daniel to transform without guidance. The boy is running out of time. I can see his essence changing even now. In another day, perhaps 2, the transformation will complete regardless of his wishes. At least this way, he'll understand what he's accepting. Danny looked at Wonder Diana's concerned face, Hawkman's ancient patience, and Gentleman Ghost's desperate hope. 3 beings with vastly different perspectives, all agreeing that he needed to act now. I'm doing it, Danny decided. If I'm becoming something new, I want to understand it on my terms. He pulled the helmet on before anyone could stop him. Reality shattered. Danny existed in 57 places simultaneously. Egyptian temple, burning. Arrow through his throat, blood pooling, his beloved Shiera crying over his body. Death, darkness, light, rebirth as an infant, crying in a Babylonian marketplace. World War I trench, gas choking his lungs, nth metal mace slipping from dying fingers. Death, darkness, light, rebirth in a Kansas hospital, small-town America, parents who'd never know he carried 5,000 years of memory. Each death was unique, each rebirth was chaos. But between them, in that space between dying and living, Danny felt it, the liminal threshold. The place where souls transitioned from one state to another, and Carter Hall, through nth metal and sheer will, had learned to exist partially in that space, even while alive. That's why he remembered his past lives. He'd made himself a bridge between incarnations. Danny could do that too, not through nth metal and reincarnation, but through his dual nature. He was already half dead, already existed partially in death's realm. If he stopped fighting it, stopped trying to be fully alive or fully dead, He could exist in that threshold space permanently. A guardian of the boundary, a psychopomp, but there was a cost. Carter Hall remembered his past lives. Yes, but he'd also lost pieces of himself with each death. Relationships forgotten. Knowledge eroded. Experiences blurred together until sometimes he couldn't remember which life had taught him which lesson. The boundary took as much as it gave. Danny felt his transformation accelerating, his core resonating with the experiences flooding through Hawkman's helmet. His ectoplasmic energy was restructuring itself according to DC Universe rules, accepting death not as an end, but as a transition he would forever facilitate for others. He could feel his connection to the ghost zone fading completely, replaced by something else, a connection to the boundary between life and death itself. He would never fully return home, never be quite human again, but he would gain purpose, power, understanding of death that transcended any one dimension. And standing in that liminal space, experiencing 57 deaths and rebirths in the span of heartbeats, Danny made his choice. He removed the helmet. Wonder Woman caught him as he collapsed, his body trembling from the psychic backlash. Gentleman Ghost floated nearby, concern evident even through his translucent features. Hawkman stood waiting, ancient and patient, knowing whatever Danny decided would shape the next phase of this strange boy's existence. "I understand now," Danny gasped. His core was burning, not with pain, but with transformation completing. He could feel it restructuring, accepting its new role. "I'm not half alive and half dead anymore. He struggled for words. "I'm the space between, the threshold, and if I accept that, I can control it." "And do you?" Hawkman asked. "Accept it?" Danny thought about his parents, his friends, his town, everything he'd be giving up by accepting this transformation. Then he thought about the Phantom Zone prisoners he'd stopped, the ghosts he'd captured, the dimensional rifts he'd sealed. How many people had he saved by being what he was? "I accept it," Danny said. "But on my terms. I'm not becoming some cosmic servant or death god. I'm staying myself, Danny Fenton, Danny Phantom, whatever I'm becoming. I'll guard the boundaries because someone has to, but I won't lose myself in the process." Light erupted from Danny's chest as his core, fully awakened, transformed and remade. His ghost form manifested, but different now, his hazmat suit darker, marked with silver symbols that seemed to shift and change. His eyes glowed not green, but white silver, the color of liminal spaces. And around him, reality itself seemed to thin, revealing glimpses of the boundaries he now guarded. "Well," Gentleman Ghost said softly, "there we are. A proper psychopomp, reborn in the DC universe." Hawkman knelt, placing a fist over his heart in ancient salute. "Guardian of Thresholds, your sacrifice honors the role." Danny floated there, feeling power course through him unlike anything he'd known. He could sense every ghost in Gotham, every soul transitioning, every supernatural entity existing in liminal spaces. The Phantom Zone was visible to him now as a twisted boundary layer. The Ghost Zone remained inaccessible, but he could perceive dozens of other death-adjacent dimensions he'd never known existed. "I can work with this," Danny said, managing a shaky smile. "But first," he turned to Gentleman Ghost, "you kept your end, helped me understand, so I'll check your curse, see if there's anything I can do." He extended his new senses toward the Victorian ghost, perceiving the magical bonds that held him, and there, a curse indeed tied to Hawkman's existence, knotted so tightly that breaking it would require breaking Hawkman himself. "I'm sorry," Danny said quietly. "The curse is too deeply woven into Hawkman's reincarnation cycle. I can't break it without killing him permanently, which would make you worse than dead. You'd become an echo without purpose." Gentleman Ghost's shoulders slumped. "I suspected as much. But hope springs eternal, even for the dead." He tipped his hat. Thank you for trying, young Guardian. And for what it's worth, you'll make an excellent psychopomp. You have the one thing most cosmic beings lack. What's that? Compassion, Gentleman Ghost said simply. Then he faded, dissolving into mist that dispersed through the walls. Wonder Woman placed a hand on Danny's shoulder. Are you truly all right? That transformation looked agonizing. It was, Danny admitted. But I'm okay. Better than okay, actually. I can feel... He gestured helplessly. Everything. Every boundary between life and death. It's overwhelming, but also right. Like I've been incomplete my whole life and finally found the missing piece. What happens now? Hawkman asked, reclaiming his helmet. Will you remain in our universe? Danny thought about it, extending his senses. He could perceive the ghost zone from here, see the shadowy outlines of his dimension, but passing through would be difficult now, potentially impossible. His transformation had bound him to DC's death system. I think I'm stuck here, Danny said. At least for a while. But that's okay. Your universe needs a guardian more than mine does. And maybe, he managed a real smile, maybe being stuck isn't so bad if I can actually help people. Wonder Woman's expression was proud. Then welcome to Earth, Guardian. We'll need to return to the Watchtower and inform the others. Batman will want to run tests, Superman will offer housing, and Raven will definitely have opinions about your transformation. Can't wait, Danny said dryly. But despite everything, the loss of his home, the transformation, the weight of his new role, he felt something he hadn't felt since arriving in this dimension. Hope. And in a universe where darkness was constantly encroaching, hope was power all its own. The Watchtower's conference room was packed. Batman stood at the head of the table, flanked by Superman and Wonder Woman. The Trinity assembled. Around them sat the extended Justice League. Flash vibrating with barely contained energy, Green Lantern's ring glowing, Aquaman looking mildly annoyed at being called from Atlantean matters, Cyborg interfacing with the Watchtower systems, and Martian Manhunter observing everything with telepathic awareness. And standing in the corner, wrapped in shadows despite the bright lighting, was John Constantine. He was smoking despite the no-smoking policy, because apparently Constantine operated on his own rules. Danny floated cross-legged above his chair. His new form didn't quite obey gravity the same way anymore, and tried not to feel like he was on trial. Again. Let me get this straight, Flash said, his words coming rapid fire. Kid dies, becomes half ghost, dimension hops to our universe, accidentally summons his rogues gallery and Phantom Zone prisoners, seals two-dimensional rifts, transforms into a psychopomp, and now he can perceive boundaries between life and death across all reality. He paused for breath. Did I miss anything? The part where his transformation is irreversible and potentially dangerous, Batman said flatly. Constantine, your assessment. The magician stubbed out his cigarette and immediately lit another. Kids become something the universe needed, a proper threshold guardian for this reality. We've got plenty of death-adjacent beings, dead man, specter, various demons and angels, but no one who specifically guards the boundaries. Danny Boy here fills that gap. He exhaled smoke. Problem is, he's untrained, unstable, and his power is still adapting. Right now, he's relatively harmless. Give him a few weeks to fully integrate, though, and he'll be one of the most powerful entities in this dimension. Define powerful, Green Lantern said, his hand drifting toward his ring. Can perceive and manipulate boundaries between dimensions, Constantine listed. Can interact with ghosts, spirits, and spectral entities others can't touch. Can potentially seal or open rifts in reality. Can guide souls transitioning between life and death, which means he could theoretically resurrect the dead or kill the immortal. He looked at Danny. That about cover it, kid? Danny felt distinctly uncomfortable. I guess. I haven't tested most of that. I can sense boundaries now, yeah. And I helped Gentleman Ghost understand his curse, but I'm not going to start resurrecting people or killing immortals. That's not what I do. Intent doesn't matter, Batman said. Capability does. You represent a threat level we can't ignore. Here we go, Constantine muttered. Bats sees a powered teenager and immediately assumes worst-case scenario. Because worst-case scenarios happen, Batman countered. We've faced Superman corrupted by Darkseid, Flash broken by losing his family, Green Lantern possessed by fear itself. Power without oversight leads to catastrophe. He's got a point, Aquaman said, speaking for the first time. No offense, young Phantom, but your arrival caused 2-dimensional breaches, multiple ghost attacks, and nearly tore Gotham apart. Your current power might be even more dangerous. Danny felt anger building, but Wonder Woman spoke before he could respond. Arthur, Danny didn't ask for any of this. He was thrown into our universe against his will, lost connection to his home dimension, and transformed into something he barely understands, all while trying to protect our people. That deserves consideration, not condemnation. Diana's right, Superman added, his voice carrying that natural authority that made people listen. Danny's actions have consistently been heroic. He captured his own enemies, sealed rifts at great personal cost, and accepted a transformation he didn't want because it was necessary. That shows character. Character isn't enough, Batman said. We need guarantees. Oversight, limitations. You want to control him, Cyborg said, his mechanical eye focusing on Batman. Put him in a box, monitor his every move, treat him like a weapon instead of a person. I want to ensure he doesn't become a threat, Batman corrected. There's a difference? No, there isn't. Flash leaned forward, his usual humor gone. I've been there, Bats. When I first got my powers, everyone told me I was dangerous, that I needed oversight and control. You know what that did? Made me doubt myself, second-guess every decision. I became more dangerous because I was afraid of my own abilities. The Flash was an adult when he gained powers, Batman said. Phantom is 15, a child with godlike abilities and no support structure. Then give him a support structure, Wonder Woman said firmly. Training, mentorship, a place in the hero community instead of exile and suspicion. She looked at Danny. The Titans have offered to take him. Robin believes he'd benefit from peers his own age. Danny perked up at that. The Titans had been genuinely supportive, treating him like a teammate rather than a threat. Raven especially understood the burden of dangerous power. The Titans are children, Batman said. The Titans are heroes, Superman corrected gently, and they've handled threats we couldn't. Trigun, the Brotherhood of Evil, dimension-threatening crises. Robin is your protege, Bruce. If you trust him to lead a team, trust his judgment about Danny. Batman was silent for a long moment, and Danny realized the Dark Knight was actually considering it. That was progress, at least. Then the Watchtower's alarm screamed. Cyborg's systems lit up with warnings, his expression going from concerned to horrified in seconds. Guys, we've got a massive problem. I'm detecting catastrophic destabilization in the dimensional barriers around Earth. Multiple rifts opening simultaneously. Ghost Zone, Phantom Zone, and something else. Something worse. The main display lit up with Earth's image, showing dozens of tears in reality spreading across the globe like cracks in glass. The Ghost Zone, Danny breathed, sensing it immediately. The rift I sealed. It wasn't permanent. Without me acting as anchor between dimensions, the barrier's collapsing. All those ghosts I sent back are coming through again, and they're bringing friends. Not just ghosts, Constantine said, his usual cynicism replaced by genuine fear. I'm sensing something else. Death energy, but wrong. Corrupted. Like... He paled. Oh, bloody hell, it's the Black Lanterns. The temperature in the room dropped. Every League member tensed because they all knew what Black Lanterns meant. Necron, Martian Manhunter said quietly. The entity of death and darkness. The Black Lanterns are his army, reanimated corpses of fallen heroes and villains. Why would Necron be interested in Earth? Flash asked, but he was already suiting up. Because of me, Danny said, the realization hitting him like a physical blow. I'm an anomaly in the death system, a being who should be dead but isn't, who now guards boundaries that Necron wants to control. He's coming to either claim me or destroy me. How do we fight death incarnate? Green Lantern asked. My ring's powerful, but Necron's a cosmic entity. We don't fight him directly, Constantine said. We contain him, drive him back, and we use the one weapon he can't counter. He pointed at Danny, a psychopomp who exists outside his authority. Necron rules death, but Danny guards the boundary between life and death. Different jurisdiction. I don't know how to fight a cosmic entity, Danny protested. I've been a psychopomp for like 3 hours. Then you'd better learn fast, Batman said, moving toward the teleporter. Because according to these readings, Necron's forces will reach Earth in 17 minutes. League, mobilize. Constantine, prepare magical defenses. Phantom. He looked at Danny with something that might have been respect. You're with me. If you're truly a threshold guardian, prove it. Show us you can protect the boundaries you now serve. Danny felt fear spike through him, but also something else. Purpose. This was why the universe transformed him, not to replace what he'd been, but to give him the power to face threats like this. Okay, Danny said, his form solidifying with determination. Let's save the world, again. The League scattered to their positions. Superman flew toward the largest rift forming over Metropolis. Wonder Woman headed for Themyscira, where the barriers between worlds were ancient and sacred. Flash and Cyborg coordinated global response. Aquaman secured the oceans, and Green Lantern rallied the Corps for cosmic defense. And Danny followed Batman to Gotham, where the first Black Lanterns were already rising from the city's countless graves. They materialized in the Batcave just as the dead began to walk. Through the cave's monitors, Danny could see them, corpses wearing black power rings, their eyes burning with darkness. But these weren't random zombies. These were fallen heroes and villains, raised with all their memories and powers intact. There, Batman pointed to one screen. That's Willis Todd, Jason's father, murdered years ago. If he targets Jason, Red Hood, the psychological damage will be catastrophic. Another screen showed a different Black Lantern. Thomas and Martha Wayne, Batman said, his voice absolutely flat. My parents. Danny felt his core twist with sympathy. Bad enough facing undead enemies. Facing your own murdered parents as enemies was nightmare fuel. Can you send them back? Batman asked. As a psychopomp, can you force souls to return to death? Danny extended his senses, perceiving the Black Lanterns with his new awareness. And what he saw made him sick. These weren't souls, they were echoes. Puppets animated by Necron's power. The actual souls of the deceased weren't present, just empty husks wearing familiar faces. They're not really them, Danny said quietly. The souls aren't there. It's just Necron using the bodies, manipulating emotions by making them look like people we knew. He swallowed. It's sick. Can you stop them? Batman pressed. I can try. Danny flew toward the cave's exit. But Batman, if they look like your parents, talk like your parents, try to make you feel guilty, remember they're not real. Don't let Necron use your grief against you. I buried my parents 30 years ago, Batman said, arming himself with every weapon in his arsenal. I'm not afraid of ghosts. They emerged into Gotham's cemetery just as Black Lanterns began rising en masse. Danny could feel Necron's presence behind them, vast, cold, hungry, the entity of death itself, drawn to Danny's anomalous existence like a shark to blood. You should not exist, Necron's voice echoed across dimensions. You died, but did not stay dead. You live but are not alive. You are an insult to death itself." "Yeah, I get that a lot," Danny called back. "But here's the thing. I'm not under your jurisdiction anymore. I don't follow the Ghost Zone's rules or yours. I make my own rules now." He extended his hands, and silver light erupted from his core. Not ectoplasm, this was something purer, the fundamental energy of boundaries and thresholds. It washed over the black lanterns, and they recoiled, their black rings sparking with interference. "Impossible," Necron said. "You are untrained, newly transformed. You cannot stand against death eternal." "Watch me," Danny said, and poured everything he'd become into protecting the boundary between life and death. The black lanterns surged forward, and the battle for Earth's very soul began. Silver light clashed with black death energy above Gotham's graveyard, and Danny felt every soul in the city like distant stars in his awareness. The living pulsed with bright warmth. The dead rested in peaceful darkness, and the black lanterns existed in twisted wrongness between. Corpses animated by Necron's will, an affront to the natural cycle Danny now protected. Batman fought with brutal efficiency, his consecrated batarangs disrupting black lanterns long enough for Danny to banish them. Thomas and Martha Wayne, or the things wearing their bodies, advanced with mechanical precision, and Danny saw Batman's jaw tighten as he deployed smoke pellets to obscure their approach. "Don't look at their faces," Danny advised, raising a barrier of silver energy that the black lanterns couldn't cross. "They're designed to hurt you, to make you hesitate." "I don't hesitate," Batman said, but Danny heard the lie in his voice. A black lantern that had once been the Joker cackled as it rose, its death-twisted face somehow more terrifying than the original. "Batsy, miss me. I died knowing your secret identity, knowing your precious Jason came back wrong, knowing I'd broken you." It lunged, black energy crackling. "Let me finish the job." Danny intercepted it, silver light burning through the corruption. The Joker corpse screamed and dissolved, its black ring clattering to the ground inert. But three more rose to replace it. Villains Batman had fought for years, all wearing their death like badges of honor. "There's too many," Batman said, switching to explosive batarangs. "How do we stop an army of the dead?" "We stop their master," Danny said, perceiving Necron's true form beyond the veil. The entity was massive, cosmic, existing partially in multiple dimensions simultaneously, but it was focused here, on Earth, on Danny specifically. "He's anchoring his power through the black lanterns. If I can sever that connection—" "You cannot," Necron's voice boomed through reality. "I am death eternal, the end of all things. You are but a child playing with forces beyond comprehension." "I'm a child who died and decided that wasn't good enough," Danny shot back. "I'm a teenager who fought ghosts, sealed dimensions, and became something your system couldn't process. You want to kill me? Get in line. I've got rogues gallery members with better claims." He flew upward, leaving Batman to handle the ground forces, and extended his senses fully. There, he could see the connection between Necron and the black lanterns, threads of death energy linking them like puppet strings. If he could cut those threads— Danny reached out with his psychopomp power, trying to sever the connections. The moment he touched them, agony exploded through his core. These weren't just energy threads. They were fundamental aspects of death itself, and trying to manipulate them was like trying to stop gravity. "Foolish," Necron said. "You guard boundaries. I am beyond boundaries. I am the end that waits for all things, patient and eternal." "Then why come after me?" Danny gasped, maintaining his grip despite the pain. "If you're so eternal and powerful, why does one impossible teenager bother you?" Silence. Then, "Because you prove death can be defied. Your existence suggests death is not absolute. If beings learn they can become like you, neither dead nor alive, then death loses meaning, and I lose power. So you're scared." Danny realized. You're a cosmic entity, and you're afraid of a 15-year-old from a different dimension. I fear nothing, but I will allow nothing that diminishes Death's authority. Black energy surged, and Danny's barriers shattered. The psychopomp power that had felt so natural moments ago now fought against him as Necron directly opposed his will. Below, Batman's defense was failing as dozens of black lanterns overwhelmed him. Danny made a split-second decision. Instead of fighting Necron's power, he embraced it, let the death energy flow through him, allowed himself to perceive death as Necron did. Absolute, final, the end of all stories. And in that perception, he found the flaw. Death wasn't absolute in the DC universe. Superman had died and returned. Barry Allen had died and returned. Jason Todd, the second Robin, had died and returned. Heroes and villains alike cross the boundary regularly through resurrection, reincarnation, or sheer stubbornness. "You're not the end of all things," Danny said, his voice carrying across dimensions with new understanding. "You're just one aspect of death, one interpretation, and this universe has dozens of others. Heaven, hell, reincarnation, resurrection, Speed Force preservation, Lazarus pits, divine intervention. You're not inevitable. You're just really persistent." "Blasphemy!" Necron roared, and the entire graveyard erupted with black lanterns. Hundreds of them, an army of the dead, all focused on destroying this impossible boy who dared defy Death's authority. Danny couldn't fight them all, even with his new power. He was one psychopomp against Death incarnate. He needed help, needed. Green light exploded across the graveyard, then red, then blue, violet, indigo, yellow, orange, and finally white. The Lantern Corps had arrived, representatives from each aspect of the emotional spectrum, all converging to fight the blackest night. Phantom! Green Lantern, Hal Jordan, flew beside him, his ring blazing. "Constantine said you're a threshold guardian. Can you close the pathway Necron's using?" "I can try," Danny said, "but I'll need cover. Lots of cover." "You got it, kid." Hal grinned, that cocky pilot confidence radiating from him. "Lanterns, protect the psychopomp. He's our key to ending this." The Lantern Corps engaged the Black Lanterns in a spectacular display of emotional energy against Death's darkness. Hal's willpower constructs clashed with black power rings. A Blue Lantern's hope energy actually dissolved Black Lanterns on contact. The Red Lantern's rage burned so hot that even corpses couldn't withstand it. And above them all, a White Lantern appeared, the embodiment of life itself, Necron's direct opposite. "Guardian of Thresholds," the White Lantern said in a voice of pure life energy. "You stand at the boundary between my power and Necron's. Only you can seal the gate." Danny felt the weight of responsibility settle over him. Life and death, the fundamental forces of existence, were asking him, a kid from Amity Park, to be the arbiter between them. "No pressure," he muttered, then dove into the work. He extended his psychopomp senses fully, perceiving not just the immediate battle, but the cosmic structure underlying it. There, the pathway Necron used, a crack in reality's foundation that death energy flowed through. Sealing it would require Danny to stand in the crack, to become a living seal that balanced life and death perfectly. It would hurt, possibly kill him, finally, completely finish what the portal accident started. But it would also end this invasion, protect Earth from the blackest night, and prove that death could be defied by those brave enough to stand in its path. Danny flew into the crack in reality. Pain beyond anything he'd experienced exploded through every atom of his being. He existed simultaneously in the living world and death's domain. His psychopomp nature stretched between them like a bridge. Life energy from the White Lantern flowed through him, clashing with death energy from Necron, and Danny was the battlefield where they warred. "Release the pathway," Necron commanded. "Let me through, or be destroyed." "How about neither?" Danny gasped, his form flickering between human, ghost, and something transcendent. "I'm the guardian of thresholds. This is literally my job description now. And I say you don't get to invade Earth just because one teenager makes you uncomfortable." He pulled, not with physical strength, but with the fundamental authority of his role. A psychopomp didn't just guard boundaries. They defined them, and Danny was declaring with every fiber of his transforming being that this boundary was closed. Necron's presence pushed back, cosmic force against teenage stubbornness. The entity had existed since creation, had witnessed the death of galaxies, commanded legions of the dead. What was one impossible boy against eternity? Everything, it turned out. Because Danny had something Necron didn't understand, the absolute refusal to accept death as final. He'd died in that portal and come back, had been pulled into this dimension and adapted, had transformed into something new rather than fade away. He was the living embodiment of death is just another obstacle to overcome. And that faith, that absolute certainty that death could be defied, gave him power Necron couldn't counter. The crack sealed with a sound like reality sighing in relief. Necron's presence retreated, forced back into death's proper realm. The black lanterns across Earth crumbled, their black rings losing power as the connection to their master severed. Danny collapsed, caught by Hal Jordan's green construct before he hit the ground. "Is he alive?" Hal asked the White Lantern. "Alive, dead, and everything between," the White Lantern said. "He has become what this universe needed, a true guardian of the threshold. Neither life nor death can claim him now. He belongs to the boundary itself." The White Lantern faded, its task complete. The other Lantern Corps began cleanup, collecting inert black rings and ensuring no black lanterns remained active. Batman approached, his costume torn and bloody, but his expression unreadable as always. "You did it, Phantom. Sealed the boundary, drove back Necron." For Batman, that was high praise. "Did I?" Danny managed weakly. He felt different now, more stable than before, but also more separate from normal existence. His transformation was complete. He was no longer Danny Fenton, who could become Danny Phantom. He was Danny Phantom, who remembered being Danny Fenton. The boundary between his two halves had dissolved, leaving something unified but fundamentally changed. "You're properly a psychopomp now," Raven said, appearing beside them with the Titans in tow. "I can see it. Your essence has stabilized in the liminal space. You'll never be fully human or fully ghost again, but you'll also never die. Not in the way mortals do. You're beyond that now." Robin, Tim Drake, grinned despite the exhaustion evident on his face. "So basically, you're immortal, incredibly powerful, and still somehow a teenager. That's going to make high school interesting." Danny laughed, the sound surprising him. Despite everything, the transformation, the battle, the cosmic forces warring over his existence, he was still himself. Still the kid who made terrible puns in the middle of fights, who cared too much about people he barely knew, who refused to give up even when every rational voice said he should. "I can't go home," Danny said quietly, the realization settling in his core with finality. "Can I? The ghost zone. I can sense it, but I can't connect anymore. I'm part of this universe's death system now." "You could try to return," Constantine said, appearing with his usual terrible timing and cigarette already lit. "Force your way back through dimensions. But you'd be fighting against your own nature now. You're a threshold guardian for the DC universe specifically. Leaving would be like a fish trying to live on land." "Technically possible, briefly, but fundamentally wrong." Danny nodded slowly. He'd known, really, since the transformation completed. Some part of him had felt it, the severing of his connection to home, the binding to this new universe. He'd saved Earth, yes, but the cost was everything familiar. My parents, he said. My friends. My sister. They'll never know what happened to me. We can send a message, Superman offered gently. Through dimensional research, let them know you're alive, safe, and a hero in another world. It won't replace your presence, but it's something, Danny finished. Yeah, that would help. Starfire flew over and hugged him tightly, her alien strength surprisingly comforting. You are not alone, friend Danny. You have the Titans. We are your family now, yes? Yeah, Danny said, returning the hug. Yeah, I guess you are. Batman cleared his throat, his version of showing emotion. The League will vote on your status tomorrow, but given your actions today, I believe the decision is clear. You've proven yourself a hero. More importantly, you've proven you can be trusted with cosmic-level power. We'll need to set up proper training, Wonder Woman added, arriving with Superman. Your psychopomp abilities need refinement. You're powerful, but untrained. That's dangerous for everyone, including yourself. I know people who could help, Constantine said. Deadman's been dead for decades. Phantom Stranger knows more about boundaries than anyone. Even Death of the Endless herself might be willing to meet you, given your unique circumstances. One crisis at a time, Danny said, but he felt hope stirring. Yes, he'd lost his home. Yes, he'd transformed into something that could never truly return to normal. But he'd also found purpose, found people who understood, found a place where his impossible existence actually mattered. For now, Robin said, slinging an arm around Danny's shoulders, you're crashing at Titan's Tower. We've got the space, and honestly, after today, you've earned a break. Plus, Beast Boy's been dying to show you his collection of terrible movies. They're cinematic masterpieces, Beast Boy protested from nearby. They're terrible, Raven said flatly, but watching Danny suffer through them will be entertaining. As the League dispersed to handle the global aftermath of Necron's attack, as the Titans gathered to escort their newest member home, Danny looked up at the stars. Somewhere beyond them was his original universe, his family, his old life. But here, now in this moment, he had something too. A new family, a purpose larger than himself, and the power to protect the boundaries between life and death. Danny Phantom, the ghost boy of Amity Park, was gone. But Danny Phantom, guardian of thresholds, protector of boundaries, psychopomp of the DC universe, had only just begun. 3 weeks after Necron's defeat, Danny stood on Titan's Tower's roof, watching the sun set over the bay. His ghost form was permanent now, the transformation between human and phantom no longer necessary when he existed as both simultaneously. Silver symbols marked his suit, gifts from Constantine to help channel his psychopomp powers safely. His eyes glowed white silver, perceiving layers of reality others couldn't see. He sensed a soul transitioning nearby. Someone in a hospital, passing peacefully from life to whatever came next. Instinctively, Danny reached out, ensuring the passage was smooth, guiding gently without interfering. The role felt natural now, right in ways his Ghost Zone adventures never had. Still brooding? Robin asked, joining him. I thought we established you're not allowed to brood. That's Batman's thing. I'm not brooding, Danny said. I'm processing. Big difference. Sure it is. Robin stood beside him, comfortable silence stretching between them. For what it's worth, I'm glad you're here. The Titans needed someone who gets what it's like to be something other than human. And after today's training session, I'm convinced you're going to be incredible at this whole psychopomp thing. Danny smiled, genuine warmth filling his core. He'd lost his home, yes, lost his humanity in some ways. But he'd gained something too. Understanding his purpose in the cosmic order, finding people who accepted what he was, discovering that even death could be defied by those brave enough to stand in its path. The Ghost Zone still called to him sometimes, a phantom ache in his core. His parents, Jazz, Sam, Tucker, he missed them desperately. But Constantine's dimensional message had reached them, and their response had been everything Danny needed. We're proud of you. We love you. Save your new world the way you saved ours. You ready for patrol? Starfire called from below. The gentleman ghost has been spotted in Gotham, and he specifically requested speaking with friend Danny. Danny laughed, letting his silver light illuminate the darkening sky. Let's go. Someone's got to keep the ghosts in line. He was Danny Phantom, guardian of thresholds. And in a universe of gods and monsters, where heroes could fall and villains could rise, where death itself walked among the living, he would stand watch at the boundary between worlds. Because hope shines brightest in the darkest night, and even death couldn't dim the light of a hero who refused to quit. Now hope shines brightest in the darkest night. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe.